Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Love ya. And I just watched the iDubbbz documentary. I was thrilled to see that he put it out. A lot of people thought he wouldn't, but yeah, it's kind of interesting because I love most of Sam's humor and comedy and how much he layers things, how just kind of different and willing to do anything he is. Um, and I really like a lot of the kind of self-help, a lot of the kind of advice that he gives, and just like I don't know, I'm really into not sort of non sequitur type of things where it's just you keep encountering great stuff you don't expect to happen. It doesn't even have to be edgy. Sam's stuff is a lot of like what people would consider edgy, but anyway, just about me. And yeah, it's it's kind of weird because I feel like Sam wasn't totally honest in his. I guess most people don't really put out their downfalls and their things that they do wrong much, but he seemed to he seems to be fairly honest. I guess you never really know, but he left out the part where he basically, for nearly a week, it was like 5 days, he gave iDubbbz very little amount of his time, very little attention, once he had told him that basically this stuff was a joke. And you see in Sam's video, the documentary about a documentary, he keeps reverting to like being a joke, like not taking things seriously, and he'll be serious for a little bit and then he'll change it back. And this is, I feel bad for him. It sort of breaks my heart because after seeing the end of iDubbbz video, it it really became, in my opinion, I'm not a psychologist, but it seems clear that he was trying to do something to protect himself, use like a defense mechanism to let people get in and deep and see the real him. I think he has deep abandonment issues or deep hurt, some pain, some low self-worth. That and people, because people who are like this, I think Trump is another great example of like people who way deep down inside of them are really sweet, soft, gentle, amazing, loving people, but they've been hurt. Those people are also often the most sensitive type of people, and so when those type of people get hurt over and over, especially in childhood, apparently Trump's dad was a pretty bad guy, and hurting people hurt people. Everybody's heard that saying, and I think it's super true, especially for sensitive people. And when you get somebody who is like sensitive, but also, you know, however you can, um, measure intelligence several different ways, or tons of different ways. I think even if you hate Sam, it'd be hard to say that he's not at least somewhat intelligent. He's made, some sort of small business off of internet. He got a TV show. These are all difficult things to do, and he's also very creative. So when you tie, and I think the same again goes for Trump. When you tie, and he has a pretty good work ethic. So all those things together really lend toward facilitating hurt and preventing further hurt. It's sort of this weird thing because you can have this super intelligence and it can be really good for some things and other things. And I think in his case, and again with Trump, I'm not. There's a ton of other people, but just everybody knows Trump. But I'm just trying to give like a real another great sort of parallel. Um, their intelligence can help them get really good at protecting themselves from further hurt, but they may be lacking in trying to figure out in getting truly better so that that hurt won't be there anymore. So basically, like, confronting things, saying that you're hurt, being vulnerable. People don't want to do this, especially kind of tough guys. Uh, Especially, if they feel embarrassed about it, if they feel like they might be judged more, if they might be made fun of more. Sam's talked a little bit about like some when he was younger and he got a friction with people, and it's very easy, and a lot of people go, yeah, I don't care, whatever, like screw the world, I'm gonna do whatever I want, I don't give a fuck. And again, it's a pretty similar thing with Trump. Like, you see how quickly he turns. It's almost it's comical. With if somebody he likes, he'll be like, he praises them as soon as they say something negative or turn against him. He's like, oh, they were never good. They were always trash person. They haven't done anything. They're worthless. And with Sam, I thought it was interesting the part where iDubbbz talks about like irony, and I think that is also a defense mechanism Sam uses. He is a comedian. He is doing comedy, but and so that can be really good comedy. There's like multiple layers of irony and things, and saying things that are outlandish. But it reminds me of like I knew some kids whose parents got divorced when I was a kid, and one in particular, but several kids like kind of started acting out like pretty obviously around the same time when their parents got divorced, and there's something that they need fixing inside of them, and it's easy to get attention and to fill that void for a little bit by doing something that's looked down upon in society or people think is crazy or whatnot, something that you could maybe get in trouble for. So anyway, I guess what I'm saying is I hope the best for Sam and iDubbbz. I do think, I don't know, I guess I think that everybody deep down in the core of their being is a good person and has hurt, but this is a great example of someone who needs help. Sam needs help, and I thought it was interesting that Ian had brought up a few things. I haven't looked into them in detail, but a few things that seem to maybe indicate that Sam's not like joking about all the about some things that he say that could be considered like genuinely hateful or hurtful. I always took them as jokes, but I guess the main being the donation of like $5,000 to something. Now I wish I would have looked this up before, but I don't know what group he donated to, but it was apparently was some sort of I don't even know. I don't want to say. So scratch that. But Sam does seem to have some intensity towards people, and it is really funny and fun to watch. But do I think somebody who's totally mentally healthy would be doing things like that? It's hard for me to say yes, and I understand if people are like, "Oh, you don't get the," or you're an idiot. I'm not saying one thing one way or another, but it seems, I don't know. After watching with iDubbbz, it makes me think a little more that Sam, he's got a lot of maybe rage, not all the time, but like sometimes, or just this unconscious or deep down type of upset at the world, and that makes you more aggressive and antagonistic and negative toward other people. And I think it can breed sort of tribalism, which I really don't think is a good thing. But people say like, oh, if somebody accuses you of being racist, and you go, I have a black friend. They go, oh, a black friend, oh, it doesn't mean anything. I think it does. I mean, I think it's hard to love someone and hate them at the same time. And people kind of make songs about that, or jokes or whatever. But I think if you have genuine care for someone, it's hard to and hate them inherently just for something like the color of their skin, or their gender, or whatever, for anything. And so I know Sam is friends with a lot of different people. I think the people can have frustration. Everybody has frustration with a variety of things in life, but when you see things that are like so illogical and not honest, it can breed a lot of discontent. And I think that's what Sam and a lot of people see in society is like, especially with PC culture and canceling and stuff like this. In America, people not addressing things as they are and trying to make excuses and things instead of trying to just make the situation better, try to use, like instead of just lowering the grade expectations for black people, instead maybe giving them better options for mental health care, make it so that there's harsh repercussions for not taking care of your children, trying to lower the single mother rate and keep families together, giving more incentives to help take care of your own kids, and give kids a stable environment. I think particularly in the black community it would help things a lot, and mental health maybe being the biggest of all those. Whereas people, just want to give out free things and then, lower expectations and things. And I think Sam and a variety of other people see stuff like that, and it just kind of drives them crazy. And it's much easier to tap into anger and discontent and rage and possibly hate than to kind of try to calm things down and speak over things one-on-one and logically and carefully, and because it's not as explosive, it's not as fun. I mean, I'm sure that's why somebody like Sam Harris doesn't have nearly as much viewership as H3H3 Productions or David Dobrik or something, because the stuff is dry and it's much easier to just lash out, get angry, or do this moral grandstanding. Someone like Hassan Anabi, I think this is his name. I'm not trying to pick on these people. I'm just saying that like it's I really don't like singling people out, but I'm just trying to say that like it's a difficult thing to kind of be empathetic and calm down, be a peacemaker, and try to deal with things in a straightforward manner. It's much easier to be sarcastic and rude and boisterous and angry and things like this. And additionally, because it's much harder to build a following and get people to watch. Like I said, it's not just doing it itself is difficult, but then trying to get people to get to listen and be engaged when it's not, you know, this sort of aggressive shouting from the rooftops, or like this like funny or like kind of witty banter, kind of being saying sarcastic remarks to person you're debating or something. It's much more explosive. People like watching fights. It takes a lot longer to build an audience of where people are kind of talking back and forth and trying to work over things. That's why. But I do think the payout in the end can be much bigger. If you look at like Joe Rogan, he for the most part has not been doing stuff that's like, hey, I'm gonna fight you and debate you and stuff, verbally. Gonna make this rage and discontent. And I think particularly if you just saw his most recent video addressing the guy who left Spotify, Neil, I don't know, whatever that guy. Sam was like, yeah, I mean, he's like, yeah, I don't want to just make stuff about this sort of thing. I'm trying to hear all perspectives, and he wasn't like, F this guy sucks, and like we're gonna do whatever we want. He was like trying to be reasonable, and like I said, I think in the long run, if you stay with that sort of course, you can get a giant audience. And Joe Rogan has, I'm pretty sure, the biggest podcast, or certainly one of the biggest, and seems like a lot bigger reach than many news outlets now. So, but it's taken a long time. I think he started his podcast like 12 years ago or something. So it's much easier to just go out and swinging and just saying bad things about people and being mean and aggressive. That gets much more attention much quickly, but and it's easier. So Sam seems to be riding that sort of thing, although occasionally he'll, just give like straightforward advice and stuff. He seems to be pretty adverse to kind of letting people into who he really is. I'll finish it off with saying, like, to his credit, he's made this business, he's made this income for himself, and so whenever somebody's dealing with the possibility of maybe losing viewership and therefore losing money, losing career, after, especially when he lost the World Peace Show, you could see it from that standpoint where he might be protecting, his income. So I just don't know for sure. But I love him. I love Ian, iDubbbz. Love everyone. So I always say love you when I start my videos. And yeah, if anybody watched this, I don't know, let me know what you think. I try to give everybody the advice of, like, take some time alone and think to yourself, like, what do you fear? And try to ask yourself, why do you fear that, and how you can get over those fears. And what you're looking for and longing for in life, and what you're spending a lot of energy trying to work around. Sometimes people are putting all this energy into not getting hurt, because they haven't dealt with something. Better yet, if you can see, not necessarily better, but if you can see a counselor, I'd encourage it. A good one, at least. Try to get as much wisdom as you can. Be kind, loving, and yeah, thank you very much for watching. Like I said, let me know what you guys think, if you can. I don't like asking this, but like and comment, subscribe if you want. If not, that's fine. Thank you very much for watching. Love ya. Have a good one. Take care.